in Tanya that would like to watch it later.
Awesome. Good point.
Thanks.
And I've just got a few kids running around in the background at the moment, so I could get a little noisy from time to time.
That's all good. I can't hear them.
I'm just on a call, sweetie. Are you just going in your bedroom? Yeah, go on. She wants to vacuum the house.
Oh.
To vacuum the bedroom. Well, it's been a pretty big day. I've had a real day of reflection. Actually, it's been a whole year of reflection, to be honest. So starting this isogenics journey way back in 2012. And I was 13 at the time, 13 years into a career as a financial advisor, and thought I was in the right space in terms of where I wanted to be for living life. I was really passionate about helping people. So I was helping people get ahead financially, helping them prepare for retirement. And that was mostly to do with the share market and property and things like that. But it was really long hours, and I actually posted something today about whether, if you don't like what you're doing, your work is stressful. If you love what you're doing, it's more passion. But I think I was kidding myself that I was passionate about what I was doing, but really it was really stressful and such an emotional roller coaster. And I was into health. I was into fitness. I'd been a competitive surfer as a young fellow and broke my neck at age 19 in a really bad car accident. And so it really put me on a path of health and keeping myself healthy and fit and keeping my body strong. And I was doing all the right things. I thought all the right things for my health. So eating all organic, getting all food from the organic farmers markets, eating organic meats. I was using like all the cleanest sort of protein. I was doing functional fitness a few times a week. So I thought I was doing everything right for my fitness. And anyway, a guy I went to school with who was also a client of mine in my financial planning business. So him and his wife were clients, and their family were clients of mine as well. And they'd started using isogenics, and they were telling me about it. And I just was instantly like skeptical and sort of arms crossed. And it's like, oh, mate, come on. I don't do containers. I'm not into shakes. And I was referring to it as shakes, but just totally blocked, totally not open. But over the course of a couple of weeks, just with these guys coming back and sending me more information, and the more I sort of was open to taking a look, like open being the word, the more I was impressed. And when I found out that the protein in the shakes was from New Zealand, and yeah, I could see that there was good quality. So anyway, Jen, she asked me this question. So Jen was a physiotherapist. She said, Scotty, is what you're doing working for you? And I said, well, absolutely no. And so that was what sort of tipped me over to say yes to finally giving it a go. And I seriously, like, within a few days, I realized just how tired and burnt out that I was, because I was feeling like energized. So it was like someone reaching in and turning something on inside. It was like I wasn't feeling like that before. I thought I was okay, but I realized just how burnt out and tired I was. And then over the course of that 30 days, had a really great result with my health, just with energy, and also with the way I was looking, my physical body, with recovering with my training, my fitness. It was just a totally different me, and people started noticing, and that's sort of how it all started. And there was a guy in the gym, so we get a 30-day money-back guarantee with the isogenics products. So I was like, righto, I'll go for 25, 28 days and get my money back. But the guy in the gym, I got him to do my body fat analysis through that whole first 30 days. And it dropped from 18 to 12%. And Robbie, my friend, he's like, Scotty, you've been coming to this gym for 7 years and you've never changed. Like, what is going on? What have you done? And so he was really inspired, and he got started, and he had a client of his who was, like, he referred to as a problem client. And she was really struggling to lose weight. She'd had all these health issues on this medication that was supposedly preventing her from losing weight. And Robbie said, Scotty, if this works for Joe, I'll really work on promoting it. I'll really endorse it. And so anyway, Joe, this lady, over 60 days had phenomenal transformation. like lost nearly 30 kg, and it was everyone in the gym knew her. This is my local gym. And it was almost like spot the person in Fitness First Adelaide Street in Brisbane that wasn't doing isogenics. Like soon after that, it just sort of took off. And that's really how I saw like how this system could really make an impact. And then my results started getting better and better, and more people started getting involved. And when I started, I was working with my wife Leanne at the time. Some of you guys know her, I know you do, and she was having amazing results as well. And just sort of, it just created this massive inspiration and like this ripple. And then I continued on using the products, and I sort of had this attitude because I was feeling so good with my results. I wanted to sort of see what I could do with this newfound energy, this newfound health, and just really ramped up my training, like was strict, following the Isogenics energy and performance program. And then started just adding lean muscle, more and more muscle, hitting PBs with all my training, and just continued to get fitter and stronger and healthier. And yeah, over the years, just continued to share Isogenics. My friends ask what I'm doing because I look so different all the time, continuing to improve my health. And yeah, so it's now what I do. So I walked away from the financial planning profession because I wanted to do this full time, and I could see that it was a way that I could still help people really have an impact in their lives, but without it having an effect on me and my family and coming at a cost to my health and my stress levels. And so now over 8 years, nearly 8 years, those ripples that started out have really continued to spread, and it's getting close to 50,000 people that it's spread to now in over nearly 11 countries. And yeah, it continues, and I continue to get healthier and hitting personal bests in my training, and I do CrossFit training, and I still to this last week hit 3 more new PBs, and it's just on an Isobody challenge at the moment and getting great results. So it's that's my Isogenics journey.
That's so cool. Awesome, Sky. And I know people who are friends with you and follow you. We see your CrossFit photos and everything. It's pretty inspirational. Yeah. And then I saw your recent challenge after like a week. I was like, wow, that's a difference there as well. So yeah.
Well, that's really cool, because that's like a new story that I've created. It's so I went to an event late November in Tasmania with a lot of the top Isogenics leaders, and I called peak performers. And I made the commitment to myself that I was going to start an Isobody challenge in the new year. So I haven't done one for a while. And yeah, the results are just amazing, because I'm quite strict with staying on the system. I still have a glass of wine here and there with my wife. I still will go out and eat a nice meal somewhere else. Like, I still have a life, but I'm pretty strict with the Isogenic system. But even so, starting an Isobody challenge and doing a really good crack at a 30-day and cleansing, that first week results, I'm now into week 3. It's just phenomenal. Like, I feel it was similar to when I first started. Like, I didn't realize how tired and foggy I was in the mind until I really had a serious go at the system. And so I've got this newfound energy just this last few weeks, just from starting the Isobody challenge.
That's so cool. And I was going to ask this question a bit later on, but I think that leads quite nicely into it. And you've been in the game for a while, and I was wondering, how do your marketing strategies, I guess, to have any of them changed since you started, or
yeah,
have any been in those 8 years? Have they been consistent and worked consistently?
The thing that's worked consistently is being proactive. So what I mean by that is actually reaching out to people rather than waiting for people to come to me. So I went through this, like when I first started Isogenics, I was reaching out to lots of people. I was sending emails, I was sending messages, I was inviting people to events, and I was way more proactive than reactive. What I mean by reactive is with my Facebook posts and waiting for people to come to me. So that's what I did in the early stages. And then I think it was at that time when Facebook really started, like this was back in 2013, Facebook really started to come of age then, that year. And I'd put a post on Facebook just with some before and after photos or photos of someone that I was helping with their results. And I'd get 50 comments and so many people coming back going, oh, what are you doing? Can you send me some information? But that is getting harder. I'm sure you guys would understand that because more and more people are doing it these days. And it's not just Isagenix, it's with loads of stuff. So I started out being really proactive. I went through a phase of just trying social media marketing, which started out well, but it slowed right down. Like it got harder and harder. And this last 12 months, I've been far more proactive. So I've been super proactive. And even in this year, this last month alone, my proactivity is the most I think it's ever been. Like and it really comes from this renewed energy as well from doing the IsaBody challenge. I think it's really fueling me. But what I mean by proactive is, before I jumped on this call, I sent out probably at least 30 invites to an event I'm running on Wednesday night. And I've been on 3 calls today, 3 prospecting calls. I've done Zoom calls, but I'm super proactive, and it's paying dividends. Like I'm now got a good pipeline of people for kicking off this year. I've enrolled quite a few people already this year, and I can see the pipeline building. And another thing that I've been doing, and I know a few of you guys have been around for quite a while, is going back to my old customers. So customers that started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus years ago that have dropped off, and sending a message out like, hey Ness, just thought of you. I'm now 2 weeks into an IsaBody challenge, feeling amazing. I know you loved using the system XYZ date, whenever that was. Would be awesome if you came and jumped on and did the program with me. So I've been sending just real subtle messages out like that. And the last 4 people I've enrolled have been from that, like have been pre-existing customers that have dropped off. So I've just re-enrolled them. So that has been working really well, because people that have used the products before, why wouldn't they use them again? And I think all too often we can forget about those people, just trying to focus on new people. But you just never know when, one of those old customers may come back and be your next business builder. Yeah, so that's so I've been doing that. And then back in the early stages and right throughout my whole Isagenix journey, I've really used like in-home events to leverage my time. Also leverage. So like I said, I just sent out like 30 odd invites, and hopefully maybe 10% of those will turn up. Like that'll be 3 people. So 3 people can come along out of that sort of hour I just spent sending messages out, I suppose. 3 people come along, and that's 3 people that I can speak to at once, instead of sort of spending an hour talking to each of those people individually, and then they can collectively hear from the other speakers at the event as well. So I've really used events to leverage my time really well, especially for people that are working jobs. They don't have time to be making all those prospecting calls each day. So if you've got events happening at home, or your team members have got events, or you've got events in your area that people are collaborating together, use those events, like invite, and that just saves you so much time in having multiple conversations when you can get a few people in the room at once, if that makes sense. So that's how, because life's really busy for me at the moment, just with the Isagenix business, just with family, and lots of stuff going on. And so that's how I leverage my time, is through events. And I've got events happening every fortnight. So every fortnight, bang, 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 bang. So there's always something coming up. So if let's say I'm out and about at the shopping centre, or I'm at the gym and I'm chatting to someone, there's always an invite. There's always an invite to the event.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Something I found was if I, when I invited to the last event, if they couldn't come, but there's always a lot of people that say, oh, I'd love to, but I can't tonight. And then I always ask, okay, well, what night works for you then? You know, and so if they say a day and I make it that day, then they're going to come along. So yeah, that worked quite well.
And one thing too, one strategy that I've used, and I use this in my previous business as well, because we're in a business, right? We're in the business of solving people's problems. We offer solutions. We have amazing products. But businesses go through cycles. They go through cycles. And so you'll have periods where there's a bit more momentum happening, then there's flat periods, and then there's down periods. And we've been through a down period, like right across the isogenics world this last 12 months. And in times when things have slowed down, it requires more activity. It requires more activity than normal to keep that ship sailing, so to speak. But that, and I've been through quite a few cycles now in my lifetime in this business, but also in my previous business. And I've had a few businesses over the years, but talking about this business, if you put that activity in the slower times, when things turn around and things start to pick up again, like the hard work that you do in these times, it pays massive dividends when things start to pick up. You know, it's that showing up, being there for your team members, running those events, just having a presence, being proactive, making those calls. So your people around you know you're open for business. But when that cycle, that pendulum swings back the other way, that's when the people that have been having that higher activity in the slower time, that's when the results come, like big time. And that's just business 101. And, you know, the likes of Warren Buffett, Richard Branson, that they teach that stuff. So right now, I believe is the time to be really getting in action. Because I think 2020's got the potential to be a huge year, like coming through off Celebration. I was in the head office last week doing rehearsals for Celebration. So I'm on stage on the Sunday, and I've never seen anything like it. Like, the beer that's coming out, the new product beer.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Like it's a really amazing product. Like the company's nailed it. I had 6 cartons of the stuff, and it ran out just before Christmas, and I was having withdrawals. But you should have seen the corporate staff like jumping over themselves to get the last couple of cans out of the icebox.
Shit.
Like Al Hilsinger and I sort of looked at each other, and Mara Pomona looked at each other like, "Did you see that?" They were just frothing over it. And so when the corporate staff are getting that excited over a product, like, you know that we're just about to have something special. So yeah, like that. And I think there's been like a few people exit the Isogenics business, like a few leaders here in Australia and overseas. And I think it's really, really lit a fire amongst the corporate team and the leadership. And I really believe this next 6 to 12 months is going to be rocking.
I always talk about it with Calvin. I'm like, man, it just makes me want to do it more, and like wants to actually smash it more, you know, when that happens.
2009, I was just having a chat with a couple of leaders from overseas this morning, and in 2009 there was a similar thing happened, and there was a bit of movement in the leadership ranks, and soon after that, like the field just launched, and the company went in really strong momentum. And so, we've been through that cycle. It's just a matter of time until the cycle swings around the other way. And then, like I said, the people that are in action and really sort of stepping up their game now will be the ones that will be really well positioned, and their businesses will be really moving really well when things turn.
Definitely. No, that's so cool. And when you were saying, you know, you had an event and that was really how you grew your business. And again, like being in it for a while, is that what you do? You know, you're always out there networking. Is that how you find new people to invite to events?
Yeah, absolutely, Ness. So I continue to send people friend requests on Facebook. I've never been blocked, and I'm still working out this whole Instagram thing. But I'm keeping a social media presence so that people know who I am and know what I'm doing. But yeah, out and about. Like one thing that I have done recently, which I think has been really cool, and Sandy Gold is going to train on this at Celebration. So I've gotten really specific about who I want to do business with, like who I want to attract, what they look like, their age bracket, what they're passionate about. They've got family, they're in a loving relationship, all those sort of things. So it's sort of like attracting someone like myself. And when you get clear on something like I've been talking to the team and done some training at New Year's Kickoff about clarity, having clarity, like clarity is power, getting clear on your goals and clear on your vision. But it's really powerful to have clarity on who you want to attract in your business. Like, let's say you're out looking for a new car and you want to buy a Tesla, for example. You start looking at those cars and all of a sudden you see them everywhere. They're in the street, they're all around the place, but they were always there, but you never saw them before because you weren't focused on them. But when now you're focused on them, you see them. And it's the same when you're looking for people. And so I've just been through this process just a couple of weeks ago where I've really drawn out who it is I want to attract and who I want to work with. And I'm noticing the people, like I'm seeing them, like the Teslas, I'm seeing them pop up all over the place. And I just had a guy yesterday at the CrossFit event and it was like, I saw him there and it's like Ian. So I was chatting to him and he's a friend on social media and he's like, Scotty, what is it that you actually do? I know you're into nutrition and stuff. And so anyway, he's coming Wednesday night, but it's like now I've got this clarity around who I want to align with as business partner. I'm talking about as a business partner, I'm seeing the people. Yeah. I mean, in terms of customers and, people to help with their health and on the Isogenics journey, like we're open for business for everyone. But when we're looking for people who you want to partner with, who you want to align yourself with, who you're going to do events with, roll up your sleeves and get to work with, like those people, that's where I think is really powerful to be clear on who that is. And I remember doing that process with Susan Sly at, in an ISA derby in Bali. That was back in January 2014. And she talked about it as developing your winning team. And she was referring to it as the All Blacks team, because the All Blacks are the best team, right? And I sort of lost that teaching somewhere over the last couple of years, and I haven't had that same focus. But I think that's what I've just refocused on now, is getting clarity, and it's really opened my eyes.
That's so cool.
So Sandy Golden refers to it as creating an avatar, and some of you guys may have heard that concept spoken. It's really cool. I think, definitely do give it a go. Like write down who it is that you want to do this with.
Yeah.
What do they look like? Give them a name. Like what are they passionate about? What are their hobbies? Do they have children? How many? Like, just be really specific.
Yeah, that's such a good little reminder for me, because when we were at New Year's Kickoff, who was it, Jen, I think, said the same thing and said put the traits of those people on like your screensaver so you're seeing them all the time, and that'll help them show up as well. So yeah, no, that's so cool. And I'm quickly going to take something off the element, which I forgot was on there. But if you could give us like a few little tips of, most people work on this call as well as do Isogenics. So a few little tips on, how you, when you did do your finance job, how you incorporated Isogenics effectively.
Yeah. So that was cool. I remember I actually did some training on this at Celebration in 2013, and I remember Kathy Coover laughing at me with one thing I said. So I used what's called net time, or no extra time, and that's something I learned from Tony Robbins. And if any of you have listened to Tony or been to his events, you probably know what I'm talking about. So doing tasks which are alongside another task that I'm doing. So I'm not using any extra time. It's called no extra time. So for example, if I'm commuting to the office, I'm making calls. I'm not listening to music. I'm not listening to the radio. I'm not listening to Spotify. I'm on the phone, inviting people to events, making calls, doing the income producing activities. So to and from transit. I used to catch the bus to the city every day, and I'm a really loud talker. Like, I get told off all the time. I remember an afternoon with this elderly lady. Well, elderly. She was old, like the oldest person on the bus anyway. And she's like, "Excuse me, can you put your phone on speakerphone so we can hear the rest of your conversation?" And I just laughed. But that's what I was doing. I was making the most of that hour each way on the phone. And then lunchtime, instead of going to the gym or doing that lunch, I'd be going out for a walk, and I'd have my headphones in, and I'd be breathing, and I'd be making calls. In the evening, not like no TV, no Netflix, no nothing. I'd just be working. Like I'd be like getting home, I'd be chopping vegetables with my earphones on. I was constantly on the phone, like making the most of every single spare second. And like I said, like what I was doing to leverage my time. So rather than having a conversation for an hour, because I like to have in-depth conversations with people, and I can just go on and on. So rather than have an hour conversation with 20 people, I'd invite the 20 people to an event and then get them in the room, and then I can speak to that big group all at once. So that's how I was leveraging my time effectively. And then I was using my workplace as a great networking place as well. Like all of my work colleagues pretty much signed up. The guy who owned the company I was working with signed up, who's still a customer today. He's still like auto ship every week. And clients as well. Like I was talking to people. Like I had no scruples back like at the time. Like people, they needed what we had. So I was talking to people. So yeah, but just making the most of every second, and instead of like finding excuses as to why I couldn't make calls, I was just finding ways that I could make calls. Yep. I should write that down. That was actually a pretty powerful sentence, wasn't it?
Definitely, yeah. No, that was
Instead
awesome.
of finding excuses as to why I couldn't, I was finding ways as to why I could.
Yeah, and I think when you said that, everyone, well, I know I was like, you say you're busy, but then you sit down and can watch an episode of something pretty easily,
Yeah.
So, and that can be all the difference.
And it can be a real distraction as well. Like you can get caught in that scroll hole, and I'll go on to message someone, and then I'll get that notification pop up. Boom! All of a sudden you lure it away, and then 10 minutes later, yeah, that's right. So you've got to be careful with that as well. But
definitely,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm a sucker for that. No, very true, very true. No, some great tips there. And so, what does your day look like now, Scott? I know you said you're in like big momentum.
Yeah.
Now, like just really prospecting, talking to people. Does your day look different every day, or does it?
It's pretty much
consistent?
So this is on my wall. So that's like daily actions. So that's my income producing activities.
Oh yeah. So 3 new contacts, 3 follow-ups, 3 pouring love.
Yeah. Let's looking for 3 people to recognize or pour belief into. Mm-hmm. Social media posts, Facebook, Instagram, and within the groups. And just looking through the Facebook groups to support. So they're sort of the income producing activities, so to speak. And then I've still got Zoom. So I had a Zoom 2 last night. I've got this one tonight. Tomorrow night don't have one,